Good evening, and welcome to this week's episode of Sounds of the Diaspora, Artist to Artist, a conversation with yours truly, Dion Parson. And man, I'm really excited. You guys have no idea how excited I am for this guest to be joining me tonight on the show. I've known him for a while. He played on my first recording, and I've been a fan for many many years. And well, you'll hear his story. So please join me in welcoming trombonist, composer, arranger, producer, and educator, the one and only Mr. Clifton Anderson.
Hey, Dion. Thank you for having me on your show, man. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure
man.
to be here.
Thank you for agreeing to be on the show. I know it took us a minute to get you here.
Yeah, we've been out of touch for a minute, but everything in its rightful time.
Exactly. How you been?
I've been hanging in there, man. I had a little rough year this year. I had a little health. I'd say, let me put it this way, an intermission.
Okay.
But I'm back in full throttle now. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on some new music and new recordings and things like
Okay.
that.
Okay. Well, man, I gotta say, bro, I've been a fan. Like I said, mentioned, that's why I had you on my first recording, and I've been just checking out all the things you've been doing, and the last project you did, I thought was, just great, man. So we'll get to that later on in the show, but I really want our audience to get to know you. It's a short period of time, but coming from Caribbean roots as well, and growing up in New York and doing your thing, you actually have been steadfast in that Caribbean tradition, but dealing with it through jazz, which is very unique because most of the times, at least when I moved to America, most of the cats playing traditional jazz were from America. So to run into someone like yourself with that heavy Caribbean background and upbringing was very welcoming. So share with our audience, the environment that you grew up in.
Well, I was born in Harlem, but my people come from on my mother's side, St. Thomas and St. Croix, and on my father's side, Jamaica. So I coming up with parents from the Caribbean like that, that part of the culture is part of your growth experience.
Right.
But as I was coming up, and in the household, everybody had to learn a musical instrument. I think that's a Caribbean thing also. So we all had to learn, whether we went on to play professionally or not. Everybody's had to learn an instrument. So my mother took me to this movie, The Music Man, and I was about 6 years old or so, maybe close to 7, and I saw that one of the scenes in there was a parade with a marching band, and 76 trombones led the big parade. I saw this instrument and all these people playing, and the crowd out there was everybody screaming and yelling on the trombones. So I told my mother, I said, I want to play that, because I had to pick an instrument, So she told my uncle, and he got me my first trombone when I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And I started fooling around on the trombone. I was, I liked the drums too. I was, fooling around. I had a little toy M&E drum set, So I was but at that age, I was really making noise, I wasn't really, I liked doing that. But my parents told me that I had an affinity for music because there used to be a TV show, Perry Mason. Well, I should back up a little bit. My father, I come from a musical family. Everybody in my family played something, and they did it extremely well. You know, my father was a church organist and choir director.
Okay.
And so I used to see him conducting choirs all the time and doing all this stuff. So when Perry Mason used to come on, I was 5, 6 years old. I would start conducting like my father, you know. So they told me I just had an affinity for music, you know. And as I was growing up, you know, I started taking lessons and things like this, and I got around a lot of other little young kids that were playing music, and I was always like the best. I was always the best musician amongst them. So, you know, I was always like the little leader in the band, you know. In the
You were the conductor.
Yeah, I was a conductor. So, you know, all through junior high school and everything. And I had a little band in the neighborhood. And there's a well-known in pop music. There's a well-known electric guitarist named Eddie Martinez. He used to work with LaBelle and all these other bands, and you know he's well known in the pop world. But he lived around the corner from me. He and his brother Ralphie Martinez, and Ralph played drums, and he was in a group. Anyway, to make a much longer story shorter, from junior high school, you know, my mother said, well, you know, she went to the High School of Music and Art, a famous high school here in New York City, Fiorello, LaGuardia High School of Music and Art, which a whole stream of great musicians have come out of.
Right.
You know, entertainment people, you know, and so she said, well, why don't you audition? She said, you need to go to that school because I love that school, and you'll be around a lot of, you know, good musicians and everything. So I said, sure. So I auditioned, I got in, and here I am thinking, you know, I'm going to walk in school and take over and everything, you know. The first day that I got there, I heard a tuba player, and he was playing like all this ridiculous stuff on the tuba. So, and it was up on the 5th floor. I traced the sound to his rehearsal room, and I looked through the window, and you know, his back was to me, but I was looking at the music he was reading, and it looked like flypaper. And so I knocked on the door, I introduced myself to him, and I said, man, what are you doing, man, you know? And he said, oh, I'm just practicing these violin concertos. I said, this is the first day of my
tuba, right?
Yeah, this is my first day at Music and Art. I said, you can play violin music on the tuba, you know? And he said, yeah. Well, he turned out, his name was Carlton Green.
Okay.
And he turned out to be one of the premier tubists in the world. In fact, he was a prodigy. And he was at 14 years old, he was a soloist with the New York Philharmonic. That's the first musician I met when I got there. So my ego was, at that point, was totally crushed. You know?
You weren't the conductor anymore, huh?
I wasn't the conductor anymore. And I was in there with, there were a bunch of great musicians that were getting ready to graduate when I came in.
Okay.
People like Noel Pointer and Nat Adderley Jr., people like this, they were all in there. And the year I was there with people like Steve Jordan, you know, Ray Chu.
Okay.
A lot. I don't want to go into naming too many because there's so many.
Right.
But when I was leaving, Omar Hakim was coming in with Marcus Miller. So that gives you an idea of the quality of the musicians that came to that school. Definitely. You know, it's a really incredible experience. And after and a few of them I've stayed in touch with and really known for a long period of time. Steve Jordan, I knew from prior to that. I knew him from we were about maybe 10 or 11 years old. Okay. You know? We were in a Bronx Borough-wide orchestra together. But that's another story. But anyway, so that was my upbringing. I came up and I went to the conservatory. Well, when I left Music and Art, I went to Stony Brook University because I wanted to study with a particular teacher out there that ended up to be pretty racist, and I didn't dig him. He didn't like me either. So, and I was a pretty militant guy in those days, you know. So I didn't take much of anything from anybody, you know. And he kind of pawned me off to one of his graduate students. But I liked the graduate student. He told me, man, you know, what are you doing out here? You need to be in a music conservatory. You can really play, you know. So he got me audition set up for Manhattan School of Music. And I got into Manhattan. And there were very few Black students in Manhattan at that time. And they did not have a jazz curriculum. they didn't want to hear about jazz.
Okay.
They were in fact, jazz was like a dirty word in there, you know. But I was in there with some really, really creative, talented people. The great late great Kenny Kirkland was there with me, and a singer Angela Bofill
Okay.
with me, and a few other really talented people. But we had to go out into the city to find places to play and to be involved with, you know. So I spent a lot of time out in Brooklyn with Reggie Workman out at the Muse. He had a program out there. I spent a lot of time with Barry Harris down at the Jazz Cultural Theater that he had on 8th Avenue. And as a matter of fact, there's a guy, Spike Wilner, who's has just opened up a new club down, I think it's 46th Street, that he's calling the Jazz Cultural,
Right.
as a nod to Barry Harris. And also, you know, people like this. And so I started playing around New York. I played with Frank. I played with a lot of great musicians around New York. And then I got a call from a young lady named Janice Robinson, who was a great trombonist. And she told me that the trombonist Slide Hampton was putting together a trombone choir, and they were looking for good trombone players to, you know, that could play to come into the choir. And he was looking for like the best young guys in the city. And so I went down there, and I kind of semi auditioned and played with them, you know. And I didn't really, they weren't really established yet, so I was just one of those people that showed up.
Right.
And we all played and had a nice rapport. And I met, actually, I met Steve Turre before that.
Okay.
When he was playing with Rassan, I had met him before, but he was there. And the late great Clifford Adams was in that group. And Papo Vasquez was there. I'm trying to remember Clarence Banks, myself, Earl McIntyre. I don't want to leave anybody out, but those are people I can remember right now. Anyway, the trombone party, that was the original World of Trombones. And then at, a year or so later, Robin Eubanks came in, Frank Lacey came in, a few other great trombone players, joined us. I think Conrad Herwig came in.
Right.
And so, and then after that, right in that period of time, I was still, I was doing a variety of things. I did some work with Stevie Wonder and a few other pop artists and recordings and different things I was doing around New York, Anyway, at that point, my uncle called me up, and I mean, we don't have enough time for me to talk about that whole history of me developing with Sonny.
Right.
But he called me. That was 1983, and I went out with him starting that year, and then he fired me the next year. He brought me back to do a Japan tour with him in 1985. And that was a really incredible experience for me because he put me in the middle of the stage, and he had that band, I believe, was who was in that group? It might have been Tommy Campbell and Mark Soskin and Jerome Harris, I think.
Okay.
But Bobby Hutcherson was in the band too.
Okay.
So it was Bobby Hutcherson, and then Sonny put me in the middle of the stage, and he was on my right side, and Bobby Hutcherson was on my left side. So it was like I was getting like an ass whipping every night in stereo, But that was like in front of thousands of people, But anyway, that started my real development with Sonny, who I worked with for over about 28 years, And then,
because most people know you affiliated with Sonny, and because you guys have different last name, it takes them a while to put the family connection together. But but that that's always been a great combination to me, trombone and tenor sax.
And tenor, yeah. And it took me a while with working with Sonny to figure out what the hell I was doing on the stage with him, because I approached that I had one of my all-time favorite recordings is Volume 1, Sonny Rollins on Blue Note, and it's with J.J. Johnson and Thelonious Monk, I think Paul Chambers, Art Blakey. It's an incredible record, and so that was my reference as a trombone player to play with Sonny, but that recording was like from the early 50s, I think, so it was. By the time I got with Sonny, he was nowhere in. He was
somewhere else.
He was somewhere else. So when I started playing with him, I realized, oh, that's not going to work. And it took me a number of years, and I hadn't worked with all the great musicians I had worked with. Actually, I had never worked with anybody that approached the music he did the way he did, and he didn't send me music. You see, so anybody who's really read about Sonny or has had the opportunity to know him, which I know a lot of people have not really had that opportunity, but I can tell you that he doesn't operate like other musicians. He's very, when I say old, I don't want to say old school, but it's a different period. The way those guys came up and learned music was totally different than how I was taught to learn music, even in improvisation. It's just like, you listen and you just, so it's not about like sitting down and studying and transcribing. Like, you learn on the bandstand.
You learn on the bandstand, you figure it out. You learn as you go.
And he has this whole vault of old music that he learned from the radio as a kid. As he was growing up, he heard all of these old songs, and they're in his mind. And I never heard half of the stuff he would come up with, and he'd just start playing these tunes. And, some of them would sound vaguely familiar, but, I didn't know any of them. And he would never send me any music. He very rarely would send me any music. He would just say, okay, we're going to let me show you this one. And he would play it. And, we go out many times we would go out on the stage and we're in front of thousands of people. And, the people are looking at you like, oh, this is going to be, and the guys were up on the stage, except Bob Cranshaw. Bob was with him all the time. I mean, and he was in that age group and he knew that material. But
Bob knows 1,010 tunes.
Yeah. So he was pretty much my mentor through that whole experience, and kind of told me how to move through things and how to get things, deal with Sonny. So after about maybe 6 or 7 years of playing with him, then I started to get an inkling of how to, of understanding. Get that understanding, because it was unlike anything I had really dealt with before, And then one day, Sonny came into my the band dressing room. He gave me a note, and he walked out. He just gave me this piece of paper and he left. So I opened up the note, and it said, "Clifton, I don't want you to approach playing with me like you play with any other quintet or quartet, sextet or anything like that, any other group. I want everything that we do to be intuitive."
Right.
So I got really mad at that point because he's pulling out these tunes. First of all, I don't know the tunes. Some of them I've never heard, and he wants me to be, now he's telling me he wants me to be intuitive. Right. So I was a little upset at first by that, but then, on a few nights later, we were back in New York, and I went over to Al Foster's house, and he said, man, you ever see this video of Art Blakey in Japan? And I said, I had seen some other videos of Art Blakey, but not this particular one. So he gave me this. I brought it home, and I put it on the machine. And when I saw the thing, these guys, and I'm sure you've probably seen this video. I forget what tune they were playing, but it was an intricate tune, and none of them were facing each other. Which I was looking at the video, and I said, now how the hell are they playing? Wayne Shorter was looking this way, Lee Morgan was looking this way, Bobby Timmons was just at the piano over, and I said, and they're playing all this music where they had to hook up. Everything was like so tight. And I'm saying, how the hell they do? And then the light bulb went off, and I said, oh, that's what Sonny's talking about. these guys know the music in a way that they don't even have to be looking at each other
Right.
to be able to play together. And I said, oh man, so this was a whole different level of performance and playing with other musicians that I that was the beginning of that journey,
Right.
really, because that's when I got the understanding. And by the time we hit the maybe the late 90s going into the early 2000s, Sonny and I we started melding in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And that level of that we started hitting a different level in the music.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, every night was just a new experience. It's just a great,
Yeah,
great thing.
that was a great time. I mean, there was an album that you guys put out with OTYOG on it. Remember
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah.
That was around that time you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and Sweeney Smith on drums,
Smitty
Uncle
Smith.
Bob. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love that album, man. I
yeah.
wore that album out to this day. I still play it. As a matter of fact, I play it in my own jazz group. And there was one with Sisters. Remember the Tune Sisters?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sister.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And Jackie
yeah,
Jeanette is on that one also.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
can hear what you're talking about, the intuitiveness happening.
Yeah. The development started
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
And
That
it's
was a beautiful time.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we had more time, I could tell you. I have a lot of stories,
I
man.
know, man. I
You know,
know. I know. We
uh,
don't have that much time, but
yeah.
I appreciate what you shared. But I just want to let you know, like that period of time that you're talking about, I used to come to a lot of those concerts and check things out, and anyway, great. That was a great period of time. Also, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
all the stuff that Sonny did has always been amazing, but I enjoyed that as well.
That period, yeah, yeah.
So when did you decide to start your own band?
Well,
Let me rephrase this. When did you decide to be a conductor again?
this is this is the thing. I'd always been, I had always been like a leader
Mm,
in all the situations, musical situations that have been outside of working with the masters, with like the Barry Harrises and those people, I
Before you jump
outside of
into, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
yeah,
Before you jump into that, I just want to share a comment from one of our listeners. Your uncle was a sax god. His unparalleled ability to blend raw power with intellectual, thematic improvisation, and his pioneering use of piano-less trios, and his
mhm.
ability to transform mundane show tunes into profound jazz masterpieces. What a great relative! Yeah, yep, yep, yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
well, I know I was blessed by by being able to grow. Also, it's not just
yeah.
I played with him. I mean, I grew, and there were things that developed out of that.
It's a
That were
blessing, but
significant.
you have to you had to and did put the time in to accept those blessings too. Because some people, some folks will be like, "Oh yeah, you have a great uncle," but you have to take the time to do the work you did in order to be where you are, especially on the bandstand with him. It wasn't just a give me, you had to
Right,
put in time. Yeah,
right. I had to come up to the level that he
yeah.
wanted everybody on that stage to be at with him. And I mean, you had to reach a certain level. One of the criticisms that a lot of well, not a lot, and it changed over a period of time, but initially, there was criticisms about, well, Sonny's band is not that good, and they don't. But what people didn't understand is that Sonny is the type of artist that he was striving for something, and it was
Mhm.
a very important lesson, that you cannot be so self-absorbed if you're working with an artist that has a concept that is trying to get to something. You have to be a support mechanism for
Mhm.
that artist. And it's not all about you soloing and about you, just putting yourself out there. It's about you supporting what that artist is trying to do. And in
Mhm.
many cases with Sonny, the supportive role was a background role. It was
Mhm.
not a forward, even though I was standing next to him in the front of the stage. Many times it was just supporting what he was doing, right?
Mhm.
So, when you got your chance to solo, yeah, you hit. But I mean, a lot of times me playing out legatos underneath him helped that situation to be what it was.
Mhm.
And early on, some of his rhythm sections, people, took a few hits because I think some of the musicians might not have been as supportive of what he was trying to do. The concepts didn't meld.
Right, they
Jive.
didn't understand per
Yeah,
se.
you
Yeah.
know. So this is something that, as things went by, as time went on, um, the longer I worked with him, the more I understood, and also the other musicians that were in the band. Al Foster was like Al Foster, in my opinion, Al Foster and Steve Jordan were the best drummers that worked with him consistently. And he had a lot of great drummers that worked with him, but those
Yeah.
guys worked with him longer than I think most of the others. And so they had a time to develop also.
Yeah.
So,
Great, great.
you know,
Well, he he's one of the most influential, I mean, saxophone players. Cats are still talking about him and still trying to figure out.
what he was playing.
Yeah.
He used to play stuff. He used to play something at me on the stage,
Yeah.
and he'd come up like by me and turn and look at me and play something, and then he'd go off and because Sonny would play like he'd play like maybe a minimum 50 choruses on a tune,
Hmm.
and so he would go off and he'd come back maybe 10, 15 choruses later, and then he played at me again,
Hmm.
and I and it was very what he was playing was very complex, so I wouldn't pick it up many times until I went back and I would listen to a recording, and
Hmm.
I'd say, oh, that's what he was doing, that's what it is.
Right,
Okay, got
right,
it.
right,
But
right.
that's how he would give me information.
Right, and I'm sure that helped influence you to be a band leader. I had asked you that question before, and we kind of sidetracked into to
Okay.
Sonny, but no, it's all good. It's all good because it's very important. But as a band leader, you have now a wealth of information. After being mentored and being on the stage with him for so long, because I've had the privilege of playing in your band also, so I know you know how demanding you are and the things you want to hear, and it's always been a pleasure playing with you. But your
Yeah.
band and your music is, it's equally, as incredible. So, when did you first put your band together?
Well, I had bands. I had bands, but they were not bands. I mean, I had groups that I would put together for gigs,
Right.
for jobs around New York, starting maybe in the maybe early '90s,
Okay.
But I didn't have an opportunity. The first recording I did, I think, was '90. I'm not really. I think it was '97. It was called Landmarks, and it's not really available to the public now because I recorded on a really nice label, Milestone Records at the time, was a well-known jazz label. A lot of cats were on that label, but I was already like 36 or years old. Al Foster used to say to me, he said, "Man, why'd you wait so long to record?" And I said, "Well, it's because I didn't feel like I had anything to contribute." You
Mhm.
know, a lot of young guys were recording, making records, but I mean, I didn't really see or hear on those recordings why they were being recorded.
Mhm.
Because the contributions were not really there. I mean, there are different reasons guys record, but for me, I wanted to be able to be at a level where I had something to say. And it had to do with my writing also, composition. So it wasn't until that period on Landmarks, that album, that I was able to start really a solo career, kind of. And then after that, I put a band together. And then my purpose at that point was to continue as a band leader, even though I was still playing with Sonny.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but my opportunities, as you well know, it's very difficult in this business to keep a band together that's working all the time.
Mhm.
So I had to use opportunities that I had to just go. I would go overseas and use a pickup band. I
Right.
used to go
Right.
to Japan every year and play with the guys who were over in Osaka. We would play Tokyo and some other
Mhm.
cities also, but I couldn't bring my band over there. You know,
Right.
so
Right.
but I decided at a certain point that I wanted to try to keep as many guys together as I could. So the first band, after I did a record for Universal Music, I think the last track that you're going to play today is off of that recording. The recording is called Decade. And
Mhm.
after that recording came out, I decided I'm going to try to keep a band together. So we did a initial release party at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola in the city, and that band consisted of Stephen Scott and Russell Blake on bass, Steve Williams on drums, and Eric Wyatt on the tenor saxophone. It was a quintet.
Okay.
And I tried to keep those guys together, but it was different. You know, everybody had issues and they were moving around. You know, some left New York City. But the general idea, concept of that band and that sound is what has remained with me. So I've been trying to develop that from and being informed by Sonny's groups, small ensemble, you know, quintet or sextet.
Right.
So and developing my own sound, you know, based out of that. So today, you know, I have a sextet with you know, a group of really extraordinary musicians, you know. So that's kind of what's happening, you know.
Beautiful,
Sure.
beautiful. Well, you shared some music with us, and I want to jump into some of that so the audience can hear the music that we're talking about, especially after hearing all the wonderful things you've been doing and developing. So I think the first couple songs are from the same CD, and then I think the last one you mentioned is from Decade.
Yes.
But the first song you shared with us is In It But Not Of It.
Yes.
So let's check this out, and then you could tell the audience, you know, talk about it afterwards. So let's check out In It But Not Of It.
Okay.
So that's in it, but not of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that has to do with our existence as human beings. You know, I'm a metaphysicist, you know, so I feel that there's a greater picture to existence than the physical.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we get trapped in physical occurrences and environments, you know, and we get caught up in things that we that happen on a physical level, but are not what we personally believe in or you know, adhere to or feel comfortable with, you know. So that in it being in it, we're in it, but we're not of it, you know.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, we're in the calamity, but that's not the basis of our spiritual being, you know. So.
But this song is a good representation of your concept, and this whole album is, and we're gonna get to that. But I wanted to jump into the next song right away because of the sake of time, which is it's a beautiful title. It's an interesting title, Bacalao Tonight, and I'm like, okay,
that's the food. That's the food.
That's the food. That's the fish. That's the salt fish. That's the salt fish. A lot of people don't know, but that's the salt fish. But along with the salt fish comes the rhythm and the vibe and everything. So let's check this one out. This is Bacalao Tonight. Definitely. Yeah. When I heard the tiki kooky doom tiki kooky doom kooky, I was like, yeah, we're in there. Who are the musicians on that?
That's a great group in there. That's the late great Bob Cranshaw is on bass.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Jordan, great Steve Jordan on drums, and the great Monty Alexander on piano, along with Eric Wyatt, myself, and Victor. Oh no, excuse me. That's Kamadi, the late great Kamadi Denizulu. It's so a shame that some of these great musicians no longer with us that are on that track. But
yeah, we have another comment. Rarely outside of guys like JJ, Curtis, Fuller, Steve Turret, do you hear trombonists sing through the trombone this successfully. You prove that the trombone is a lead instrument. Yeah.
Always has been.
Yeah, man.
Always will be.
Definitely. Well, we're gonna keep plotting through. This next song is from I think this is the title track of "Been Down This Road Before." Yeah, and this is one of my favorite. And I know you put this out to just kind of share, like, we're here, but we've been here before. You know.
Yeah. It's a social commentary piece, and it was by the another late great, fantastic artist, the late Andy Bay is the singer on this, and it's just a social commentary about where we've been at in racial, relations.
Well, let's check this out. It's one of my favorite songs from you, man, by the way. I mean, I think this is well represented. So let's check this out. Been Down This Road Before.
I know for sure, been down this road before, a road that never seemed to end. I know for sure, I've seen it all before. What goes around is coming round again. I know for sure, been down this road before, been down this road before. tell the story about the way things used to be. It sounded like they were describing the world today. So sad to say, I know for sure. Been down this road before. The same old story, just a different day. I know for sure. Been down this road before. Been down this road before. I heard somebody say that they don't like the way some people look or pray. Stand your ground, ask questions later. Okay to shoot them down, long as they're black or brown. We need a change today to find a better way. I know for sure. Been down this road before. A road that never seems to end. I know for sure. I've seen it all before. What goes around is coming around again. I know for sure. Been down this road before. Been down this road before. I know for sure that only love can cure. As history repeats itself, and then I know for sure it's time to close the door. And if not now, then who knows where or when. I know for sure. Been down this road before. Been down this road before. Been down this road before. Down this road before. Been down this road before. Been down this road before.
You have a video out with this also, right?
Yeah, the video has cameos actually by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Danny Glover. And you know, we produced that video. You know, after I saw the final of it, I was actually kind of in tears. You know.
Yeah. His video is very touching.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, beautiful stuff.
But yeah.
Anyway. You have a great comment here. You've shown us a better way. Thank you, Clifton.
Yeah, appreciate
beautiful.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Is that Buster Williams playing
no,
bass?
Actually, that's, let me see who played. That's the great Tom Barney on bass. On that one.
And that's Steve Jordan, Tom Barney. Who else?
Steve Jordan, Tom Barney, John F. Adams, keyboardist here from New York, and Victor Cien, myself, and then we have Mala Waldron and Angela Workman singing backgrounds on there, I believe.
Yeah. And I get our guitar intros. That's that's Peter Bernstein. Yeah, man.
Bernstein.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Great stuff, man. Everybody should go check this recording out, man. It's very powerful. It's very real because we're living it. So,
right. It's like generation to generation the same.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, history is a hell of a thing because, you know, we got to learn from it, not repeat it.
I know. We live as the great Karen Hunter had said, we're living in the age of ignorance.
Living in the age of what?
Ignorance.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, but it's a beautiful song, man. From the first time I heard it, I hit you up like immediately. I was like, "Bruh, yeah, definitely.
Thank you,
Man, we're short on time, but I want to get this last song in.
Go ahead.
The song is entitled Z.
Z, yeah.
Yeah, what's Z about?
I'd rather not say.
Okay.
But there's a great lineup there. That's Steve Jordan's on there, also with Christian McBride, my man Kenny Garrett, and Stephen Scott.
Okay.
I think that's it on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's check this out.
All right.
Z by
Z.
Clifton Anderson. Z by
Z.
Clifton Anderson.
Yeah.
Fantasy. I love it. One word, spectacular. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
beautiful, man. I remember playing this song with you.
Yeah, I think we did this one.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful song, man.
Written
One day you'll
for,
tell me the story behind it.
well, written for an old friend of mine. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's great, man. Listen, our time has expired, but we're here. You know, I can't thank you, man, enough for being here.
Can I say real quick, because I know you got to go. We're going to be at the Iridium on May 15th.
Okay.
The Iridium on May 15th, and we like everybody to come out because we like to sell it out. I don't make too many appearances in New York City, so if you can push that for me, and the number there is 212-582-2121. 212-582-2121. The Iridium in New York, Broadway and 53rd. All right. So,
and also, before you go, let the audience know how they can follow you. Any website or
you can go to my website, which is www.cliftonanderson.biz. Cliftonanderson.biz. And I'm on Facebook, just I guess under my name, and Instagram under my name. You know.
Okay.
The website is nice. I have a lot of photos up on the website and the galleries of a lot of great people that I've worked with and been with. You know, that might be interesting to people too. You know.
Beautiful. So, well, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you for sharing your story, man. We definitely have a lot more to talk about. But
yeah, I mean, there's plenty, man. It's a short period of time, but I tried to get as much in as pertinent stuff as possible.
You did, man, and the music was beautiful too. Yeah. So thanks for sharing, man, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you to your audience.
Continue success, man. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, May 15th, 2026, the Iridium. That's 53rd and Broadway, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on out and support live music, support Clifton Anderson. And, you know, we really appreciate all the support we can get, man. But, bro, continue success.
Thank you for continue the great work you're doing, Dion.
Thank you, man. More than welcome. Definitely, man. We'll be in touch, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again. Take care. Take care. Yes, that's the one and only Mr. Clifton Anderson sharing his story with us and his music. Beautiful stuff. Go out and check him out again. That's May 15th at the Iridium, 53rd and Broadway. If you're in the New York City area, please support and check him out, okay? But in the meantime, come back and join us next week at Sounds of the Diaspora as we bring to you another incredible artist, one of my other dear friend, Mr. Richard Johnson, pianist extraordinaire. Please come back and join us next week. It's been a pleasure presenting to you guys. Hope you enjoyed the show and hope you had as much fun as I did. Wishing you a beautiful evening. Take care. All the best. Good night.